Hey guys, what's up? It's Ryan here, and okay, look, I do not do movie reviews very often on this channel, or really at all. Honestly, I haven't done one, I think ever, honestly. I don't even think I did one on The Greatest Showman, which was kind of surprising because that was probably my favorite movie of all time. But I do kind of want to make a video about this movie, Dear Evan Hansen, because I have seen countless hate videos on this movie. And personally, I don't know if you guys know, I suffer from social anxiety. I suffer from depression. I actually take Lexapro. I'm open about it. I don't really mind people knowing. I also take Adderall too, medically prescribed to me. And I deal with a lot of things that Evan also deals with. And personally, I find it a little bit offensive when people say that Evan was a sociopath, that Evan was this kid who was, in the wrongdoing all the time, this kid who was like a piece of crap. Like, I honestly get kind of offended whenever someone says that. Now, I do want to just dive into, like, the major complaints of this movie. And I think that where it all starts is Ben Platt. See, I think the issue that a lot of people have with this movie, and the reason why I don't have an issue with it is because of this. Look, a lot of these people who are making this video are not in high school. A lot of these film critiques, all of these people who are making videos about this are not in high school right now. I am. I'm a senior in high school. So I kind of have experience in this, and I'm currently living through this. So, in my personal opinion, and, everyone has their own personal opinion, I completely accept that, but in my personal opinion, this movie was a perfect representation of what someone like him goes through on a daily basis. Now, let's start with Ben Platt's age, right? So, a lot of people complain about his age. A lot of people say he looks way too old to be playing a high schooler. Okay, you guys. I know about 10 people in my life who look like they're 25 and they're in high school. Now, I understand here that some people think that he looks way older than he is. If I saw that guy in high school, I would think he would just be a high schooler. I'm not even gonna lie with you. If I saw Ben Platt at my school, I would have just think that he was a high schooler. There's a lot of people at my school, personally, who look like they're 25, 26, 27 years old. Lots of them. Full grown-out beards, tall, 6'4". Their face structure is very, 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 very developed for their age. A lot of people at my school look like they're old. And I even have gotten that comment a few times. A lot of people think that I'm not a high schooler. Some people think I'm like in college or like I'm 23 or 24. My point is, guys, age is subjective, okay? Just because someone might look older to you doesn't mean they look older to someone else. Look, I've been called like I was... Some people think I look like I'm 15, and some people think I look like I'm 25. It depends on the person. It really does. It's completely subjective. Now, a lot of people think that Ben Platt looks like he's over 27, but that's only because you guys are reinforcing that opinion. If we just left it and didn't say anything about it, way less people would even notice it. But because you're bringing it up, that's why people are now noticing it and be like, oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, he does look older. Even though, to me, I watched the movie about 5 times. I know, I'm kind of obsessed with it. I never noticed his age being an issue. Never. I never noticed his age being an issue. I understand he's trying to play a high school kid, and a lot of the scenes are him being in high school. I understand that emotionally attaching yourself to the character who you don't think looks like a high schooler might be a little bit weird. But like I said before, a lot of high schoolers look like him. A lot of high schoolers look like they're 27, 28 years old. And, I personally think... Also, I don't know if people know this. John Travolta, who played what's his name in Grease? You know, the main character in Grease. He was also in his 20s when he played a high schooler. So take that as you will. All the criticism that the Evan Hansen movie is getting, put that on Grease too, because John Travolta was not a teenager when filming that. And I didn't even know that until like literally 2 to 3 months after the film. Like after I saw the film and I learned, oh wait, John Travolta was way too old to be in that role. Personally, guys, I wouldn't want anyone else besides Ben Platt playing that role. Ben Platt does that role better than anyone ever could. And I do mean that. I do firmly believe that. There's a reason why they casted Ben Platt. There's a reason why Ben Platt was the original Dear Evan Hansen. There's a reason for that. First of all, he's insanely talented. Second of all, he's an incredible actor. Like, I do theater. I do theater classes. I do all that stuff. And I'm even planning to direct this year as well, which will be kind of fun. But one thing I look for in, like, an actor is overall facial expressions and physicality. Like, those are two things that I really look for. Also, how you use your voice, vocal inflection, you know, anything really, emotion, like how you present yourself on stage and how you conform to the character you're playing. And for Evan, I think Ben Platt plays him perfectly, right? And I personally would not like to see anyone else in that role besides Ben Platt. Okay, I addressed Ben Platt. Oh boy, okay. A lot of people complain about the plot of this movie. Personally, I think the plot is very, very profound. Personally, I think the plot is very, very good. I think the plot is, in my personal opinion, one of the best plots I've ever seen for a movie, for anything. The reason why I love the plot so much is because it flows really, really nicely. So, again, this is a spoiler kind of thing. I feel like most people watching this have already watched the movie, but if you haven't, please go watch the movie before watching this segment of this video. I'll give you a second. Okay, now you're back. But seriously, like, I personally think that the plot flows extremely well. So you first start with Waving Through a Window, where it's Evan going through his, like, high school experience, going through, like, hey, I don't even think I'm getting seen by anyone. You know, I feel like most people get that. And, you know, that's where Waving Through a Window comes in. The next scene is, I believe it's, what's the song called? Where he's sitting at the table and he's singing. Yes, that's the next one. You guys know what I'm talking about. I've been blanking on this song's name. I don't know why. God, I'm so ashamed of myself. But, For Forever. I got it. For Forever. The next song in the next scene is For Forever. And that one was kind of like the musical. Like, honestly, the entire setup was very, very similar to the musical and how they did in the musical. So I wouldn't say that one's really new. Since Waving Through a Window was brand new. Yeah, the other one, it wasn't that new. I'm not even gonna lie. For Forever. Oh my god, I keep blanking on that. And then third is Sincerely Me. Sincerely Me was my favorite scene in the entire movie. Not only just the scene, but the scene before Sincerely Me, when Evan and Jared are running on the track. I thought that was really, really funny. I don't know. When Jared called the PE coach a fascist, I was like, oh my god, that is hilarious. Like, I was laughing my ass off in the movie. Like, it was so funny when he said that. He just said it underneath his breath too. He was like, fascist. And I was like, oh man, okay, Jared, I see you. But I honestly also think that Jared was incredible in this movie. I mean, I had a lot of doubts about Jared, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't like his kind of, like, new gay persona. I have nothing wrong with him being gay. It's more of like, I love the other Jared character so much in the musical that, like, when they changed him up a little bit, I was like, oh, wait a second, I really liked it. But I liked this new adaptation of Jared, actually, a lot, and it made him really, really funny. And diving into Sincerely Me, he had some really, really funny moments in this scene, and like that's where I think people need to focus on are the good parts of this movie, because there are definitely good parts. And then next was, I believe the Anonymous Ones was next. I think, right? The Anonymous Ones. Oh no, If I Could Tell Her. I think If I Could Tell Her was next. That was actually one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, surprisingly. I did not like that song, not even gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of that song, but the scene itself is so good. So, basically, what it is Evan, like, telling Zoe what his brother told him, but not really. You know, it's like his way of confessing his love to Zoe without even saying it, really. And I kind of like resurrect with that a lot, because like I feel like I always do that. I always avoid the main problem, tell it my own way, and then does that even make any sense? I don't even know. But yeah, you basically get the point. If I Could Tell Her is basically Evan confessing his love to Zoe in a different person. That's basically what it is. And he goes through like how we noticed like when Zoe had her blue hair, and then she drops an F-bomb, and then the dancing part, and then the magazine part, and she was like, I do that ironically. I thought that was hilarious too. Zoe was awesome, by the way. Oh my god. Sorry guys, this is such a flow issue. Requiem. That was the one after Sincerely Me. Oh my lordy lord. I completely forgot about Requiem. Requiem was okay. I wouldn't say it was amazing. That was one scene that I thought could have been a little bit better. I liked the car bit, but I thought it was a little bit weird how Zoe was just driving home super fast and then just stopped at a stoplight. Like, I was just like, okay, it built into that. I'm like, how did that have to do anything with the story at all? Like, I was a little confused. I think they used it as more of like a building to that song, but I didn't think that was needed. I didn't think that car bit was needed. And then also the, like, was she trying to kill herself? Like, I still don't know why she was doing that. Like, I understand that was like the most emotional part of the song, but like, was she trying to kill herself, or was she just like getting over anger out? Like, I didn't get that clear message there. And then, okay. Sorry guys, I'm bouncing around so much. The Anonymous Ones now. I kind of already talked about If I Could Tell Her. And the Anonymous Ones was my favorite scene in the entire movie. It was. No doubts about it. First of all, the song itself, best song in the album. Don't even at me on it. Don't even at me. Don't even out me. The Anonymous Ones is the best song in the entire album. By far. It's not even close. Here's the reason why. I don't deal with what Alana is dealing with. Not even gonna lie. Being the popular kid at her school, being the one who everyone looks up to, right? And having that kind of like, she's basically telling Evan, like, hey, look, you might be this anxiety-filled mess of a person, but you're no different than everyone else. Everyone else deals with the issues that you deal with. She even mentions in the song, like, you don't need a pile of prescriptions to function naturally. Like, you can't make assumptions off of people who look like they're popular or look like they're super cool, because they might be dealing with the same things that you are, you know? And that's like that was a really valuable life lesson for me, because like I always look at people in my school who are popular and I'm like, man, wait, I wish I could be like them. And I'm like, well, what's different from me to them? We're both people. We both go to the same school. We both can talk English. We both have decent GPAs. Like, what's the difference between us? There's no difference. You know, it's like, if I wanted to be them, I could be them if I wanted to. You know, it's just like, you can't capsize yourself in, like, one little part, you know? And, like, I don't know, man. I just think that that scene was very, very profound, and I loved how it showed her like going to her locker and then turning around and then going to the gym. And I love how they show the process of her like feeling that nervous energy. And then when she went into like the when she was going to like say go Porcupines, I think it was, go Porcupines. The girl, one little detail I don't know if people noticed, the girl who was sitting right next to her also looked traumatized. Like, she looked absolutely traumatized. And yeah, so I don't know if anyone ever noticed that, but that girl looked completely traumatized, and like she looked exactly like Alana. And I thought that was a really cool detail they added. And yeah, I mean, I honestly thought that was really well done. And then after the anonymous ones, then Evan gets like the paper to do the You Will Be Found. He goes up on the stage, completely bombs his presentation. He drops all of his notes. And then when he drops all of his notes, he goes to the ground. The microphone falls. And then, like assholes, everyone brings out their phone to record this little tiny lunatic who looks like an anxiety piece of crap who can't control himself, right? So everyone starts recording him. And this is, I know I said the anonymous ones was my favorite part of the entire show, but my favorite moment of this entire movie was when Evan stood up and put a big middle finger in everyone's face. I was just like, oh my God. That was so powerful. When everyone put out their phones to watch this kid who was an anxiety piece of crap who fell down, anxiety-filled piece of crap who fell down. Now they're being like, oh shit. He's actually doing something really cool now. Oh my God, I feel like such an a-hole. You know, like that's how they kind of felt. And then some people even put their phones down, like the jocks. I'll get into the jocks later. They were not very good. But the jocks literally put their phones down, and then like everyone else kept recording because they were like, why not? And then he sings a song, right? And then they have that cool like entourage. It's a really beautiful scene if you've ever seen it. I hope you have. And then right after You Will Be Found, which was again a beautiful scene. I believe the next song here. Let me grab my phone. I just want to make sure I'm going in correct chronological order here. As you can kind of tell, this is not edited. This is me talking. I'm sorry. I'm too lazy to edit. Here. Okay, wait a second here. Okay, so the next is Only Us. Okay, so Only Us was average. I'm not even gonna lie with you guys. I thought they were gonna get it on in the room, especially when Zoe removed her jacket and put it on the I think it was a shelf, and she put it on the shelf, and she did it really like seductively. She was like, I was just like, oh no, are they gonna have a sex scene in this movie? But luckily there wasn't, so that's good. I was just like, they would not put a sex scene in Dear Evan Hansen, right? Right? I hope they wouldn't. That'd be kind of weird if they did, right? But okay, so then Only Us happened. I thought it was a decent scene. I thought so. I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't think it was like incredible. I didn't think it was just like incredible scene. It was good. It was good. It's worth a watch. I mean, you probably enjoyed it. It's nothing noteworthy though. It was good. You know? And then Words Fail. I do want to talk about the scene before this. So, Alana questioned Evan's tactics. Basically, Evan has been saying that Connor Murphy has been his friend since the beginning, right? And I think what happened here, Evan got a little bit nervous again. And he lied so much, he couldn't just tell the truth then and there. So then he wanted to continue this lie to Alana. So then he showed her and sent her the You Will Be Found, not You Will Be Found, sorry, the letter that he wrote to himself in the printer room when Connor took his letter. And then he was just like, here's proof. So then Alana takes it, and then she finishes the anonymous ones, then sits at her desk, and then she basically like says like, hey, all these anonymous ones, like, we deserve our voice to be heard. And then she posts it. This is where all hell breaks loose. And this was the best part of the movie, in my personal opinion, because this is where all hell broke loose. Like, I'm telling you, this is where, like, the main climax was. I didn't think You'll Be Found was the climax. I thought this was the climax for sure. And I thought that this was the climax, mostly because there were so many stakes involved in this movie, in just this scene in general. Like, if you really think about it, like, the amount of stakes, like, Evan just heard about it, so then Evan calls Alana, and then Alana's like, that she doesn't answer, and then a few hours pass, and then Evan is at, like, the retreat where Zoe is, to go meet up with her and make sure she's okay. Then she went home, and then Evan calls Alana again and says, hey, please take it down. They've been through enough already. And then she takes it down, and then Alana tells him, it's too late, Evan. And then they started getting death threats. The Connor Murphy family started getting death threats. They started getting a bunch of things like, hey, why is he writing a suicide note to his friend and not his family? Like, and then it gave a really bad example to the family. So then what happened was Evan went to Zoe's house, and then he went into the house, and the family was completely discombobulated. They were arguing about things. They were calling Evan Hansen out on things, and then Evan sings the song Words Fail. And then Words Fail is his owning up to, I'm sorry, I did this. And then the family obviously was distraught. They were confused. And yeah, that was Words Fail. And I thought Words Fail was a good scene. I did. I thought it really captivated everything. I thought it could have been done a little bit better. Some parts, I think they could have shown that he let go of the tree more clearly, because they kind of showed it, but like at the same time, I kind of wish they showed it a little bit more in depth. So yeah, that's just one thing. So then after that, everyone's obviously like really upset with Evan. Actually, just the Murphy family is. And then Evan does, again, the right thing, and he posts on his Instagram, hey, I was never friends with Connor Murphy. And then he posts it, and he's like, look, the Murphy family does not deserve your hatred. I do. And then this and the anonymous ones were my two favorite scenes of the entire movie. So then he gets his yearbook, and he looks through Connor Murphy's, like, his favorite books to read. So then he gets all the books that Connor Murphy reads, and then he reads through them all. Then, after that, Evan wants to learn more about Connor. So then he texts a bunch of people who he had affiliation with Connor, and then he finds out, like, hey, are there anyone who knows anything? And then this person is like, hey, Derek Reynolds knows someone. Don't ask me how I know that name. I don't know how I know that name, but okay. But Derek Reynolds has this video of Connor. And what Connor is doing in this video is singing one of his songs. Then Evan sends a flash drive to Alana, to the Murphy family, and to Jared. And I thought that was extremely cool of him. I really do. I think that was extremely profound, in my personal opinion. I thought that was incredible. That, like, he was able to do that, you know? Like, I thought that was just incredible. Like, incredible directing, too. And, yeah, I personally think that Evan really wanted to do the right thing. So then it showed Connor playing this song about how he felt like he was getting better. A real thing this time. This was not fake. This was a real thing this time. And then the Murphy family obviously was really, really sad, but also really, really happy that they had a good memory of Connor. And then the ending was not really noteworthy. Zoe and Evan meet up in the orchard park. And then they start talking, and then Evan sings a little closer, and then the movie ends. Now, I gave you kind of like a good plot synopsis of the entire movie. And I'm sorry, this is really, really long, 25 minutes. But there's a lot to talk about here. I'll try to make this a little bit shorter. Directing was good. Was it great? No. Was it bad? No. Directing was overall good. I didn't think there was any bad moments. I didn't think that they could have directed things a little bit better in any place. I do want to say that I wish they did the You Will Be Found scene a tad differently. And I think that's the one scene that I wish they did a little differently. And then I want to talk about Evan's character a little bit as well. The reason why I wanted them to do that scene a little differently was because I like that montage of like people, but it felt really corny to me. Like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but it felt really, really corny how they made Connor's face. And it transitions to, you know, the mom and the dad. I don't know. I liked it, but it could have been done better. I think it could have been really cool if you got to see Connor's room, or maybe when Connor was sad or distraught in his room when they were singing that, and then the parents tried to calm him down and stuff like that, and then he finally calmed down and he started crying on their like shoulder or something like that. I think that would have been really cool if they did that instead. I don't know. I think they should have done like a flashback to Connor's life more than like a memory of Connor's life. I get why they did that, but I feel like they could have done like a flashback to Connor. I thought that could have been a really cool moment in the piece for sure. I do want to talk about Evan's character though. A lot of people think he's a sociopathic lunatic, basically. So he lied about being friends with Connor Murphy, straight to their face. Now, a lot of people are like, why did he tell the truth? If you go watch the movie, Connor Murphy's mom didn't allow him to tell the truth. Evan, on multiple occasions, tried to tell the truth to them. Over and over and over and over again. But then they kept interrupting him and were like, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And then he was just like, I was not trying to write it. And he gave the note back with his cast arm. And then his mom gave the note and then pulled his arm back and had Connor on it. He was like, and then she was like, his most endearest friend. And he was just like, oh, I can't lie to them now. Like, obviously he can't lie to them. Like, if he lied, I mean, he couldn't tell the truth now. Sorry, not lie. I couldn't tell the truth now, like, they're so distraught. Like, I can't just tell them the truth. And he talked to Jared about it as well. And I think that Evan, he made a mistake. He should have just told the truth, straight up. But first of all, lying was what made the entire plot of this show. So that's the first thing. The movie, sorry. That's what made the entire plot of this movie, was him lying. So, I mean, if you just told the truth, then this would be the most boring movie ever. I'm sorry, it would be. Him lying was the reason why this movie was interesting. First of all. I mean, that's kind of the obvious point. But second of all, he never had the opportunity to tell the truth. He was trying multiple occasions. Now, I do agree he went too far. And technically, it is sociopathic behavior. But you also have to remember what Evan deals with. You see what he deals with in the beginning of the movie. The guy is literally writing a note to himself. Writing a note to himself, guys. This guy was not mentally stable whatsoever. So stop expecting him to be the same as everyone else. He's not. He's different. And I don't think a lot of these reviewers understand that. Is that Evan's character is different. He's a different person than everyone else. And that's why he acts differently than everyone else. Is that an excuse for his behavior? No. But I also understand that he went through a lot of shit. I also understand that. And having your dad move out when you're 7 years old, that's pretty tough. It's gonna mentally handicap anyone. I mean, I lost my dad when I was 9. I actually have a picture of him right there. Kind of see him. But I lost my dad when I was 9, and that really sucked. And I developed depression because of it. I probably had depression when I was born, but it got a lot worse throughout time because of that. And I think that anything that happens to you, you really have to learn and grow and develop. And what you see out of Evan is growth. He's a completely different person at the end of the movie than he is in the beginning. At the end of the movie, he's going up to people. He's talking to people. He has Zoe talking to him. He has a bunch of people talking to him now and saying hi to him. He's a completely different person. And yes, his actions were bad. But people make mistakes, especially when they're 17 years old. And people need to accept that people can grow and can develop. And I personally think that the narrative that Darren Hansen was a sociopath is very, very unfair. Because calling him a sociopath for his behavior, I understand. Technically, he is. But he also never did anything to harm anyone. He didn't want to harm anyone by what he was doing. He didn't even know he was harming anyone by doing what he's doing. He thought it was the right thing to do. Until people were being harmed by it. And then he told the truth. I don't see anything wrong with that. Personally, I don't. And I know a lot of people might, but I personally think that the way that they ended the movie, the way that they kind of developed that kind of emotion was totally fine. Okay, I'm finally done. I hope I hit all the notes. Also, one bonus thing for you Dear Evan Hansen diehard fans, go listen to the Jared Evan scene after waving through a window. And you will hear 2 songs that were in the previous album. Comment down below what those 2 songs were. I kind of want you guys to get a test. And yeah, if you go watch the movie again, then comment down below what those 2 songs were being played by the band when Evan and Jared were talking to each other about Zoe's hot band shirt. You know what scene I'm talking about. They were playing 2 songs that were in the previous album that are not in this one. Comment down below which ones those were. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.